By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Hey everyone, this is Evelyn from Reppin'. Reppin' is about representation of all kinds. You'll meet notable people you think you know. You'll gain insight into who they are, what they show up for, and what they represent. It's about empowerment, diversity, courage, love, strength, and so much more. This is Reppin'. Today, I'm here representing 20 Tim Minutes, so turn it up.
Represent 20 Tim Minutes, episode 70. I am your host, Tim McCarthy. If this is your first time listening, hey, what's going on? How are you? I'm doing good, thanks. This is a podcast that focuses on mental health through humor, insight, and personal stories in roughly like 20 minutes or so. Haven't gone over 30 minutes yet. 30 Tim Minutes doesn't sound so good. That intro was done by Evelyn with Reppin' Podcast. She's had a lot of great guests on her podcast like AJ Mendez and Angela Yee. Pretty sick podcast. She's legit. I know I say this about a lot of people, but she has a great voice. A lot of these people have great voices. I'm over here like, I got a radio show on my podcast and it's like 20 minutes, my guy. Yeah, I don't really have a professional voice. Maybe that's why people kind of like the podcast. I always like getting those emails from Good Pods, and it tells me like I'm number one in like the health and fitness list. So it's always nice to see. So I appreciate everyone listening and checking me out. And hopefully there's someone new listening today. What I do with every episode, National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-8255. Or if you don't like calling people, text the crisis text line, text the word home to 741-741 if you live in the North Americas. There's other options out there if you're not in the North Americas. A lot going on in the world. People can probably use some help mental health-wise. There are options for people that don't have money. I've had people reach out that don't have health insurance or money or anything like that. There are options out there that are free. Might not be great, but they're free. And there's some things that are cheaper than most. So don't be scared to look. Or if you need some help, I will help you. But I'm not a professional. Let's get that clear. Again, I barely know how to speak English, let alone speak about mental health. So take everything with a grain of salt. Everything is from my perspective. And that's it. So don't get me in trouble, anybody, because I don't have lawyers. Nor do I have an assistant to do anything because I tried recording this yesterday and I had a meltdown. If you want to chat with me, 781-523-9333. You can give me a call or shoot me a text. I don't know how it works. It was like a fake phone number I got, so I won't answer. But you can leave me a message or a text. Don't forget to buy some 20 Tim Minutes merch, 20timminutes.com. Download my app, yada, yada, yada. You know the deal. Yesterday, March 21st, was Down Syndrome Awareness Day. And to raise awareness for Down syndrome and people like that are not different from everyone else. And we're all equal. Doesn't matter who you are, what you are. So don't forget it, people. I've had an interview with a gentleman who happens to have Down syndrome, John, from John's Crazy Socks. I reposted that interview not too long ago. I would go check that out. He is like a huge inspiration. Great guy. He beat me in rock, paper, scissors. Had a lot of laughs. And he's like one of the only interviews that like I think you can pinpoint where I almost start to cry when he like hypes me up and hypes everybody listening up. That guy and his dad, God bless them. They're one of the two favorite people I have that I've interviewed. This week I have on Michelle Hammer, who's a schizophrenia activist and spends her time passionately fighting the stigma. She is a very interesting cat. She's from New York, great personality. I've never talked to anybody with schizophrenia before, and she explains it so well. She even has like footage of it happening because it definitely is one of those things that people get twisted, I think. It's like a lot of them. Like people think like OCD. It's like, oh, I'm very organized. It's like, oh, schizophrenic. I'm just a crazy person. I saw like a TikTok today and it was like a crazy guy and he was making like funny comments. And he was like doing like ninja moves and stuff. And everyone was like laughing at him. Like I would have laughed at him probably a couple of years ago. But now I'm like, this is sad because there's a lot of people out there that have mental health issues that are funny. But it's very sad to see. I've been seeing a lot of homeless people lately. And they're like kind of like my age or younger. And I always think like homeless people are like scamming people because I've seen that before. But then I'm like realizing, I'm like, it's expensive to live out there. Like I'm very grateful for my situation, even though I complain from time to time. But like I'm seeing dudes out there and women on the reg. And like I kind of want to like help in a way, but I don't really have much money to give because I'm going through some shit. But I would love to just chat with them and see what happened. But I don't want to waste their time. They're looking for money and not my conversation. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Cancer Dad, the podcast host, Jason Pickle. I was going to have him on. We were going to chat, and he unfortunately couldn't because his son is back in the hospital in Neyland. And it's very unfortunate because children with cancer always just like kills me. Anytime a child doesn't get to experience their childhood as like without anything happening to them, it like bums me out. So Jason Pickle is a great human being. He's got multiple kids, dealing with the kid going through cancer, in the hospital again for that. I commend you, Jason. Nothing but the best for you. And Jason's a great guy. He's not one of these guys that's like throws out a GoFundMe to help himself. He's throwing out like different companies and different charities to help donate. So if you can like donate blood pallets, anything like money, time, whatever you can do for stuff like that. I know Boston's really good with children and cancer. I forget the name of that place. Is it the Jimmy Fund? Yeah, I think that's it. I don't even know my own state. See, I got to start donating more and learning more. So please sure to check out the Cancer Dad, host Jason Pickle. Great human being and nothing but the best. All right. A lot's been going on since the last episode, okay? I got my new therapist, and yes, it's my old therapist's dad, okay? The first question everyone asks is, why didn't she recommend him first? Kind of a two-part answer. I don't know, and two, I know he was, like, he's the main guy there. Like, he's the final therapist boss, and he was always busy and packed. And I think Rachel assumed or knew, I've said it once before that I liked talking to female therapists more. Like, I like guy doctors, female therapists. I don't know. I just feel like I like a female perspective. Again, I grew up with like my older sister, my older mom. My mom's older than me. Isn't that weird? I don't know. I just feel like I relate easier when I get it from a woman's perspective. But now I got the top dog, and we had a quick meeting, and I am scared and excited. He goes beyond DBT, and he breaks me down in these different little brackets and like breaks me down. This was the first meeting, and I got out of it so happy. I'm like, this is going to be so excitingly scary, and I can't wait. He even told me that. He's like, this isn't going to be easy. He's like, if I offend you, let me know. I'm not going to, but if it happens, and I'm like, I'm hard to offend, baby. I'm hard to offend. And he's just going to work on me like from like section to section, like sad Tim, funny Tim. It's like, he was like asking me, like, he didn't ask me if I was a good person, which was great, but he was asking me like, why don't you think you're a good person? It's like, what is the end game for that person thinking he's not a good person? So there's like levels to his questions that drive me. I'm like, what? I'm like, I get it, but I don't. He's a really smart guy. I'm going to keep you guys updated with this. I think it's very interesting to talk about day one and moving forward. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I'll root for your boy. I'm wearing a 22 minutes beanie right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, I still got a bunch for sale. It's getting to be summertime, so get these in. It's because I'm not putting them on sale. Guess who I saw recently? Haley, Podcast27. If you have followed this podcast for quite some time, or if you want to know a fact, if you're not going to look back, the first interview I've ever done was a collaboration interview with Haley from Podcast27. Her and her husband came up to visit Boston for a podcast show. I don't know the name of it. And they wanted to go to Salem. So you know what? I'm like, I'm taking the day off. I'm going up to Salem. I'm seeing Haley, seeing one of my best friends I met from the internet. And I never thought I'd be one of those people that like sees your internet friend in person, because she lives down in Atlanta, like outskirts of Atlanta, I believe. And it was like, we've been chatting for so much. It was like very awesome to like meet each other, but it was like, we picked up like instantly, because the conversation with somebody is so easy to translate into person, I feel like, because like you already know how to talk. It's just like being like, holy shit, you're in front of me. But with the interview, it's kind of like a digital version of her, but then I got the real version. So if you don't know Salem, Massachusetts, it's like where the witch trials were originally. If you're a spooky person, or a spooky bitch, as they put on t-shirts, you would love Salem. I got my tarot cards read, and boy, did they scare the shit out of me. They talked about what I'm going through now, future relationships. There was one that she talked about, like my job, and she was like, there's either going to be an opening or an advancement somewhere. And there is like an opening at my job coming up that I hope they're doing. And I think my knee's bleeding. and that I'm gonna go for. But the other thing was, she was like, yeah, there could be something else. She's like, what's your like hobby? And I was like, the podcast. And she's like, don't stop doing that. She's like, I can't tell you that's it, but just don't stop doing it. And I was like, well, lady, the wheels are still on, and once they fall off, they fall off. It was those tarot cards like that stuff freaks me out. But I don't believe in it. That's the thing. I'm like, I do believe in it, and I believe in it. And when it's like too on point, like she didn't like know my name or know anything about me. I just showed up. So shout out to tarot cards. Tarot card Tim. I might start reading people's tarot cards. You don't see, is it tarot or tarot? It's tarot. You don't see many men doing it. And when I say you don't see many men, I don't see a man doing it. I think I'm going to get into it. That's going to be my other hobby. I'm going to start a Tim Tarot team 20 minutes card reading. It's going to be awesome. Another thing I'm on the same line of like, I don't believe in believe. It's like aliens is one. It's like, I don't believe in them, but if they showed up, like, that makes sense. We went to the demonic like house, and it was like black and scary. And you go in, there's like a goat devil with like two little kids and like a statue. And like, I would never go to a seance where they like cut the head off a goat, but I don't really believe in it. I don't know. It's very scary. There was also one of those things. Was it Zoltar from Big? But it was a demonic asshole. So you put $1 in, they give you a fortune, which I'm going to read in a second. But he says something really, really nice to you right before he gives it to you. He goes,
will attend your funeral, even after they finally find your body.
Damn. Ooh, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Thanks, man. But I want to say that I wanted to read this real quick. I'm going to break it up because the middle is like analogies, which aren't that good. You've been wondering what to do with those benefits you have or are about to receive. Just remember, as branches of a tree return their sap to the root from where it comes, as a river pours its streams in the sea, where its spring was supplied, the heart of the grateful man is delighted to return a benefit received. You are basically a kind and good person. You are basically a kind and good person. The number of people that have, and the tarot card reader said that thing. She's like, one of the cards was like, yeah, you have like an internal crisis where you don't think you're a good person. I go, this is it. I'm done. And then we go to this fucking thing and it tells me I'm a good person. So I'm just going to say I'm a good person just so the world can stop telling me I'm a good person. So guys, I'm a good person. You find confidence in goodness of another. This is good proof of one's own goodness. Your heart may be pleased to know that there is many a good man to be found under a shabby hat. And I'm wearing a goddamn shabby hat. I didn't put this hat on to make it seem like that. I'm getting spooked out. Spooky season is early this year, and I don't like it. I don't like it, and I like it. Oh, my God. I saw this recently. Did you see this? Did you hear about this? Harry Miller played 3 seasons with Ohio State, announced he would be medically retiring from football, revealing mental health struggles that pushed him to the brink of suicide. And he quoted, "Hope is just pretending to believe in something until one day you don't have to pretend anymore. I would just ask you pretend for a little bit, and then one day you won't have to pretend anymore, and you'll be happy." I like that. I like that a lot. And shout out to him, man. It's like he was like 4.0, like volunteer. The guy's a smoke, long hair. I wish I had a long pony. And it's cool that he saw that and he's like, you know what? Life's bigger than football. And it is. People that take sports too seriously are demented. Like, I like watching sport. I kind of like gave up watching it. I stopped watching wrestling. I don't watch any TV. I watch I Think You Should Leave season 1 and season 2 on repeat. That's my only second language. I'm bilingual. English and I Think You Should Leave. Shout out to him though for learning that, because people like the horrible shit they say to people, like players, especially like players of color, is awful. He's a white dude, but I'm just saying, like, it just goes to show like people breaking down anybody and the horrible shit they say. It's like if you talk to any athlete and ask them like some stuff they've heard, it's got to be awful. It's got to be absolute awful. I gotta talk to Joe Barksdale. I think I'm meeting up with him for his podcast soon. I'm gonna ask him some of the horrible shit that has been said to him, and go back and listen to that interview. It was really good. But yeah, if you say shit to a athlete, you're a weirdo. So I don't know if you guys know who this is. Sean Strickland. He is a UFC fighter, and he's legit out of his fucking mind. He made fun of this other fighter, Khalil Roundtree, who pretty much like poured his heart out with about mental health and how it struggles and just like being an athlete, money issues. And this dude, right? And I quote, That's the gayest shit I've ever seen, and I love bi women. So I've seen a lot of gay. Yeah, you're really special, a special little snowflake. This man is the definition of a PC beta male. You would all hate him. Seriously, being in the same room as him makes me cringe. What? Like, that's such a weird thing to like reply, and he wasn't even like talking to him, he just interjected. So this guy, Sean Strickland, he was physically and mentally abusive. He was mentally and physically abused by his father. Angered by circumstances at home, Strickland was kicked out of every school he attended. He's actually a former neo-Nazi. So that might go to show you. And he said he turned his ways around because he met friends of color. So I'm glad that worked out for you. But he makes a lot of like gay jokes. He's like, I can make fun of gay dudes. I love gay dudes and they love me. But then he's like, I don't like lesbians because they hate me. It's like, why is this guy talking? Like, I'm not like, cancel culture is one thing, but it's like, how about we just sit down and talk to this guy and be like, hey man, you need like a PR agent, or you need to shut the fuck up. I'm not like not big into that. Especially like openly when a guy talks about his mental health, some like big dude that like goes out there and fights people, gets hit in the head. And you're like, oh yeah, you're weak. Okay, this guy goes out there and fights people, but then he says he has mental health issues and he calls you weak. He's like the definition of the man up era. And I wouldn't say anything to his face because I'm a huge pussy. But I would actually, you know what? I'm going to email Sean Strickland to see if he wants to come on the podcast. And I know he won't reply because he probably doesn't have an email. I would like to talk to people that are like that, just to pick their brains. Head injuries are like, I remember reading this recently, and by reading it, I read just the headline, that any type of injury to your head, like, just affects you. And that's obvious. You get like a concussion from a volleyball match, or you get elbowed in the head at like a jiu-jitsu class, stuff like that. It's going to tweak your brain a little bit. There's a wire that happens in your head that just like snaps. So protect, instead of Wu-Tang says protect your neck, I say protect your head. Protect your head is for the children. Protect children's heads. And then we won't have people like Sean Strickland going around telling people they're gay for opening up about their mental health. Shout out to you, Sean Strickland. What a dick, right? What a dick. He's a really good fighter. And I get like he wants to be like known for like his atomic notes or whatever, but whatever, man. Hopefully he gets punched in the face, which he will, and he'll get paid for it. So that's how that works. Let me give you my Tim's tip of the day. Tip of the week. Tim's tip. Just the tip. Beware of your surroundings and what you say to people. You don't know how it's going to affect people. Stuff like that. I got it from the Sean Strickland thing. Is like, if you want to say like shit, like nasty shit with like your close group of friends and like a tight circle, go for it. You guys know each other. If you want to say some dumb shit, racist shit, gay shit, that's on you. Doesn't mean you're a good person, but at least you're hiding it from other people. Like, especially like when somebody's out that was sexually harassed and someone makes a joke about it and it offends that person, but that person gets offended in a way that they're like, you know what, I want to educate this person, be like, hey, you should be careful of what you say in front of people. And they did. And the person that said something wrong was upset. The way that she said, like, what you said was fucked up and made me feel a certain way. And I just want to let you know for the next person to not do that. And it drives me nuts that happens to people. So I'd say just be careful of your surroundings when you're making stupid comments or jokes or whatever. ELE. Everybody love everybody. That's the best way to go about life right now. Except for like, you can't love racist and pedophiles. Don't love them. But ELE. Don't forget it. I'm gonna say this, what I'm grateful for today. I'm grateful for the internet, because without the internet, I wouldn't have a podcast. I wouldn't have websites to go to. Wink, wink. And then I wouldn't have met Haley from Podcast27 with this podcast. So I'm very grateful to make a new friend that I've come very close with. Got to go to Salem with, and I've been to Salem only once. So to be a couple spooky bitches and play with the demonic statue and like get our tarot cards read was really cool. And I'm grateful for that. So thank you, Haley, for meeting up with me and throwing my stickers around. I snuck a couple stickers in her bag before she left. I'm like, hey, go stick these on stuff. Thank you, everybody, for checking out another episode of 20 Minutes. I am your host, Tim McCarthy. You can find more information about me at 20timminutes.com. It is not 20 TI minutes, or it's not 20 Tim minutes. It's 20 Tim minutes. Flows off the tongue. I love you guys, and have a good one. And we're clear! Ha!
This podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. If you are feeling suicidal, please dial 911.